Today we have three philosophers, and when we read philosophy, we listen to philosophy, so we become deep and creative. Because these people, they have written books and they have given us a lot of theories, a lot of knowledge, and when we read them, so we also become deep and creative, and maybe one day you become like them. So today we have the three philosophers or thinkers, Ibn Rushd, Shah Waliullah and Ibn Khaldun. These three philosophers, they have contributed a lot to human knowledge and understanding. They were not traditional philosophers. Yes, today luckily the two, Ibn Khaldun and Ibn Rushd, they have some originality. Shah Waliullah doesn't have that much originality because again, when you talk about religion, so then you have to comply, then you have to obey what the religion is telling you. As in the Holy Quran, it is said that ذَلِكَ الْكِتَابُ لَا رَيْبَ فِيهِ هُدًى لِلْمُتَّقِينَ الَّذِينَ يُؤْمِنُونَ بِالْغَيْبِ. So it means that you have to obey. آمَنَّا وَسَلَّمْنَا وَأَطَعْنَا أَطِيعُوا اللَّهَ وَأَطِيعُوا الرَّسُولَ. So what does it mean? That you have to obey, you have to believe. And when you obey and believe, so you cannot do philosophy. Because philosophy makes you creative, critical thinker, skeptical, doubtful, you ask questions, you challenge things. And this cannot be done in religion. Because religion is a complete package. You have to take it or reject it. But you cannot find holes in it, that this and that. That is against the spirit of religion. So, but Muslims, when they were in the first 50 or 100 years, so they were neither philosophers nor scientists, because they were obeying what the religion was telling them. And they were doing their crusades and their wars, and they were occupying the lands. So when the Muslims, they reached Egypt and Iran and India and other parts, so they faced civilizations which were built on philosophy, wisdom, and non-religious stuff. So then there was influence of these civilizations on the pure religion of Islam. Then when after Abbasids, after Umayyads, when Abbasids came, Mamun al-Rashid and Harun al-Rashid and these people, they made the houses of wisdom, the houses of wisdom. In Arabic it was called Baytul Hikmah, the house of wisdom. So wisdom is basically philosophy. Because the word philosophy, philo and Sophia, means the love of wisdom. So those were basically the centers of philosophy. As there was only religion with Arabs and there was no philosophy, even the poetry which was there before Islam, that was also banned by Islam, that there should be no poetry, there should be no literature, there should be no philosophy, only Quran is enough, Hadith are enough, and that's all. But then they wanted to discover, they wanted to write, speak more on deep topics and the purpose of life and the universe and state and all these things, how to run a state. So then they translated the books from Greek to Arabic, and some philosophy and science started. But when Ghazali came, yesterday I told you about Imam Ghazali, so he rejected philosophy, and then he stopped rational thinking, critical thinking in Muslims. Ibn Rushd was the only one who challenged him, and he wrote a book opposing Imam Ghazali, and he said, no, you don't understand philosophy, you don't understand the philosophers, and they are not wrong people, and you have to become, you please don't stop people and Muslims from philosophy. But the path which was given by Ghazali was so easy, and because, for example, how this world came into being, how this universe came into being. Now for this, if you do philosophy, so you have to write a lot of books and a lot of theories. And Aristotle, he gave his the theory of cosmology, cosmogeny, technically, cosmogeny, Geny, that how this cosmos means universe, how this universe came into being. So Aristotle is basically in the favor of eternal universe, that there was no creation of universe. This universe was always there. And later on, science also proved that the law of conservation of energy and the law of conservation of matter, that matter cannot be destroyed and it cannot be created. And as universe is matter, so how it can be created? It was always there. How it was there? So again you have to think over it, that how, when, will it, if you think like this, then you go against religion, because religion tells you that the universe was created by God, and one day this universe will come to an end. So, and then there will be the day of judgment, and there will be hell, and there will be heaven and paradise and all these things. So these discussions, when it started in Muslim countries, so Ghazali told people, please stop reading philosophy, because otherwise you will lose your faith, you will lose your religion, and you will be no more believers. Ibn Rushd was the person who opposed Ghazali, and he wrote a book against Ghazali. And then but Ibn Rushd did not become popular, because how this universe came into being, for this you have to do a lot of philosophy and a lot of science. But religion tells you a very easy answer: God made it. God is the creator, and that's all. So human being wants to be in comfort zone. Why should I read a lot of books and theories and discussions and debates and arguments? Very simple, God made it. So this was a very easy solution to difficult problems, difficult fundamental questions. And that's why Ibn Rushd became popular in Europe. Ibn Rushd is considered to be one of the philosophers who brought Renaissance and Enlightenment in Europe. He's a very interesting person, a very tragic story also of his life. He was beaten, he was disrespected because of his creative ideas, but he became popular in the West, and Muslims, they did not give him more importance. As you see, Imam Ghazali is more famous. Ghazali School, Ghazali College, Ghazali this, Ghazali that. But Ibn Rushd nobody knows, though he was a very original philosopher. And again, like Al-Farabi, Ibn Sina, he was influenced by Aristotle, and his political philosophy and his general philosophy were based on Aristotelianism. Aristotle is the person who brought dark ages in the West. Now, how I make this statement? Because when Greek philosophy was very popular, and Christianity came, and Christianity gave easy solutions to people, so people stopped following Greek philosophers, and they started following Christianity. So this period is called Dark Ages. Now what happened, that people started asking questions. As young generation today, there are questions, people ask questions. So what happened, that they made Aristotle popular, and they considered that Aristotle has given answers to all the questions. As today you listen to Ghamidi and Maududi and these people, that one Wahiduzzzaman, or what is his name, who died recently, Wahiduddin from India, an old man with those things. So young generation then start listening to these people, because they say that, okay, I don't want to lose my faith, and at the same time I want to be rational. So this happened with Europe also, that they introduced Aristotle in universities, And people thought that Aristotle has given answer to every question. And this is reality, that there is no branch of knowledge which was not touched by Aristotle 2500 years back. He discussed everything. If it is logic, if it is mathematics, if it is psychology, if it is physiology, if it is biology, whatever you take the name, and Aristotle wrote on it. So people said that, okay, for us, church, Bible and Aristotle, these two are enough. We do not want to do more research. So that's why Aristotle contributed to dark ages. Though he was a philosopher, he was a rational thinker. As in Pakistan, we see Allama Iqbal is our philosopher, and Allama Iqbal did this and Allama Iqbal did that. So Baijan Allama Iqbal died in 1938. What happened after that? No, Allama Iqbal is this and Allama Iqbal is that. So people, then they start following and they stop their own creativity. So Ibn Rushd was again influenced by Aristotle. So Ibn Sina, Ibn Rushd and Al-Farabi, these are a kind of non-religious philosophers. Though they discussed God and these things, but they were not so much like Maulvis. They were Mutazilites, they were rationalists. Ibn Khaldun and all these three followed Aristotle, and their thoughts have a lot of similarity. The other person that we have today, Ibn Khaldun, his field was a little different. Though he was a philosopher, but he was more sociologist. And he is considered to be the founder of traditional psychology, not scientific psychology, but traditional psychology, sociology, he founded. His very famous book, Muqaddimah Ibn Khaldun, in that he has written about politics, about state, about the evolution of different nations. His very famous theory is Asabiya. Asabiya means tribal connections, that people, they run state and their affairs according to the tribe or according to the ethnicity they belong. For example, I am from Swat, so if I meet someone from Swat or I meet someone Pashtun speaking my language, so I become different as compared to a person who is not from my area or from my language or from my tribe. So on the basis of this, then we run states, and then there are evolutions and devolutions, nations rise and fall. So all these theories were given by Ibn Khaldun. So he is a very original kind of writer, not Maulvi or Mullah type who is mixing religion everywhere. Though religion was so dominant that he could not openly oppose it, and he mentioned for legitimacy, for justification, you have to justify yourself. So sometime मज़हब का तड़का देना जो है वो लाजमी होता है, इस्लामिक टच देना, ताकि कम से कम लोग आपको सुने तो सही. So they did these things. Shah Waliullah is a very recent phenomenon. He is not so old, and he came after the downfall of Mughals. Now, how the Mughal Empire faced the downfall? There were great emperors like Babur, Akbar, Shah Jahan, Jahangir and Shah Jahan, and finally Aurangzeb. Humayun was not that much great because he was defeated very badly by Sher Shah Suri, who was a Pashtun emperor, and Mughals, they were Turks and Mongols. So again, that Ibn Khaldun theory of Asabiya, that Pashtuns versus Mughals. If you study Khushal Khan Khattak, so he opposed so much Mughals because they were not belonging to his ethnicity. And Babur, though he was a Muslim, but he came and he defeated Ibrahim Lodi in the first battle of Panipat, in 1526. So that was it was not Islam, but it was the tribal nature. You see, Abbasids, when they took power, so they took the bones of Umayyads out of the graves and burned them. And when Yazid defeated Imam Hussein in Karbala, so he went to Makkah and Medina, and he declared that today I took revenge of my grandfather. His grandfather was Abu Sufyan, and Abu Sufyan was the father of Amir Muawiyah, and Yazid was the son of Amir Muawiyah. So as Abu Sufyan was the leader, the ruler of Makkah, and when the Prophet, peace be upon him, conquered Makkah, he took power from Abu Sufyan. So this thing was in the tribal mind that I will never forget it. And then he defeated in Karbala, and then he declared that today I took revenge of my grandfather Abu Sufyan. Because all these people who became Muslims, so why they did not become Muslim in the beginning? The Prophet was there for 13 years in Makkah. 13 years he was in Makkah, but only 300 people became Muslims. So when he went to Medina and he became powerful, and then Abu Sufyan and these people, they became Muslims. So this is logical that they did not become Muslim wholeheartedly, but they did not have another choice. So when Yazid became powerful, so he never forgot that thing in the past, that his grandfather Abu Sufyan was, his power was taken. So this is what Ibn Khaldun is discussing, all these things, that how the tribal mindset, it changes power and state and political philosophy. Then when Aurangzeb Alamgir came the emperor, he wanted to promulgate Shariat in India. And Muslims were not even 20% of the whole population. I think 20% or maybe around that approximately. I don't know exactly that how much was the percentage of Muslims, but it was not majority. Majority were Hindus. But Aurangzeb, because of his religious bigotry, because of his religious zeal and zest, he introduced Shariat in the whole of India. So then Hindus became opposed to him. They loved Akbar, they loved Babur, but they became opponents of Aurangzeb. So then Mughals and Muslims, they lost power in India, and Aurangzeb was the person who killed his 4 brothers and his own father Shah Jahan for the sake of power. So this was politics, and in this background Shah Waliullah emerged. And then after Aurangzeb, a lot of differences, because in Shias in Iran, they had difficult times, so they ran from Iran and they came to India, because India under Jahangir and Shah Jahan were very tolerant and they were very broad-minded people. But Aurangzeb made it difficult for people against Shias. Later on, Mujaddid al-Afsani and these people, they also opposed Shias. And but Shah Waliullah wanted to combine all these schools, at least within Sunni Islam. So he gave a message of unity, and then he called Ahmad Shah Abdali to come from Afghanistan, and he didn't defeated Marhatas in the third battle of Panipat. But then he went back, and Muslims could not get the power which they lost because of Aurangzeb. Aurangzeb was the cause of this loss. And then Shah Waliullah wrote a lot of books. His one book is very famous, which I have read many times, Hujjatullah Baligha. It's a very scholarly book that he wrote. And then he also wrote books on how we should understand the Holy Quran and he translated the Holy Quran for the first time in history, translated from Arabic to Persian, because it was considered haram to translate Quran, because these are the words of God. So the words of God were revealed in Arabic. So how can you change the words from Arabic? Because definitely God did not reveal it in Persian or Pashto or Urdu or some other languages, because these languages were not spoken by the Prophet. So when you translate one book from one language to another language, so it changes its meaning and beauty. So it was never translated. But Shah Waliullah for the first time translated. He also wrote a lot on Shani Nazul, which was a very big problem. Shani Nazul is the context of the revelation. If you consider the context or the Shani Nazul, that a verse in the Holy Quran came into being in a special situation. So then Quran becomes limited to 23 years of its revelation period, and it is not applicable later. And if you make it applicable to every time, then again a lot of problems arise, because now 1400 years passed, and how can you implement something which was applicable at that time, because the society is not the same. That's why these tablighis and these people, the conservative people, they don't want that the Muslims should change. They should remain the same as they were 1400 years back. Even they will not allow you to use toothbrush, and they will tell you no. Even some of the extremists, they use only horse. They don't go to car. So these kind of challenges were there, which were dealt by Shah Waliullah. He was also considered to be a mujtahid, and he did ijtihad, solution to the new problems in the light of religion. But when God has completed the religion, al-yawma akmaltu lakum dinakum, so how can another person opine in that? And that's why, as I told you in the lecture of Allama Iqbal, that his book, The Reconstruction of Religious Thought in Islam, failed because you cannot reconstruct. However, from examination point of view, you have to write ijtihad of Shah Waliullah. So these were the three thinkers, and these are the last three thinkers in philosophy course, Muslim thinkers. I have given you lectures and notes on all the thinkers which are Muslim in this month. So this is my last lecture, and tomorrow I will give you one lecture in political science, because political science syllabus and philosophy syllabus, it is the same in Muslim thinkers. Only there are three thinkers which are not in the philosophy syllabus. It is only in the political science. So tomorrow lecture will be in the political science classroom. Otherwise both are the same. I have given you notes general philosophy, so that is more applicable to this classroom. And then in the note, the last point is political philosophy. So in political science you can write both political philosophy and general philosophy. And in general philosophy you can give touches to political philosophy as well, but your focus should be on general philosophy. For example, Ibn Sina, so his philosophical role is more in the logic of Ibn Sina, but the same logic you cannot write so much in political science, because logic is a branch of philosophy. Political philosophy is also a branch of philosophy, so it has its own distinctive feature. By John Locke, Rousseau, and उनका नाम स्पेलिंग तो सही लिखो, they are not Muslim thinkers. वो तो एक और चीज़ है. मैं आपको मुस्लिम थिंकर्स की बात कर रहा हूँ कि तीन मुस्लिम थिंकर्स ऐसे हैं कि वो पॉलिटिकल साइंस के सिलेबस में है लेकिन फिलॉसफी में नहीं है. Yes, most of the philosophers, they were not treated well, and they were because Imam Ghazali created an environment that there is no need of philosophy and science. So all the best, take care, good night. Please read the notes.